All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. Here we go. Today, students will be able to write linear equations in two variables given a point and slope or given 2 points. Okay, so linear function is that straight line. Linear parent function is y equals x, so that's before we do anything to it. X-intercept is where the line crosses through the x-axis. Slope is rise over run, or the differences of y's over the differences of x's. Y-intercept is where the line crosses through that y-axis. Positive slope, reading it like a book, it goes up. Negative slope, reading it like a book, it goes down. Zero slope, this would be called a horizontal line. And keep in mind that a zero slope is always going to be y equals this number. So this would be y equals 2, okay, because it crosses the y at 2. Undefined slope is straight up and down. So on this one, it wouldn't be y equals 3. This would be x equals 3. Okay, because it crosses the x-axis at 3. Standard form, ax plus by equals c. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're looking at this mainly today. So if you're given a point -1, 3, and it has a slope of 2, 2 is the m, so it goes here. And then the opposite of x, so +1 here, and the opposite of y, so -3 here. Parallel lines have the same slope, but never touch. Perpendicular lines, their slopes are, they cross at a 90-degree angle, and their slopes are opposite reciprocals. So, on to your worksheet for today, okay? So, this is page 1, okay? So, be sure you're on the right page, okay? So, they give you a slope-intercept form. They tell you what everything means. They give you the point slope form, tell you what everything means, and then they give you the standard form, and they tell you what everything means, okay? So what we're doing today for just this page, and here's an example problem that can talk you through the steps, but what we're doing is we are changing these into slope-intercept form. So look up here, which one are we changing it into? Into this one, right? We're changing it into slope-intercept form. They're giving it to us in point-slope form. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And like I said, there are equations up here. So you start with the original equation. Then you need to distribute. So we have y plus 4 equals 4 times x is 4x. 4 times -2 is -8. Okay. The next one is you need to add 2 to each side. So whatever number's here, do the opposite. So subtract 4. Subtract 4. So you have y equals 4x. -8 minus 4 is -12. That's it. Okay, that's all you're doing. So let's look at number 4. Looking at number 4. This one has a fraction. Do you think that's going to change the process? Not at all. Okay, so the first step was what? We need to distribute. So we have y minus 6 equals, what's 3 times x? 3x. What's 3 times -1/3? Well, you can just type that in if you're unsure. Okay, so 3 times, parentheses, -1/3. -1. So -1. Okay. What's our next step here? We're trying to get y by itself, so we add 6. Now we're not adding 6 to this 3x because the x family is a different family. So y equals 3x. What's -1 plus 6? +5. Okay, so that's y equals 3x plus 5. All right, so turn your paper over. We're going to look at this backside here. So what they want you to do, we're going to look at the graphs first. And again, they have example 2 and 3 up here to help you, okay? So what we're looking at here says, write an equation in point-slope form for the line that passes through each point with the given slope. So now we're just writing into point-slope form. Okay, just write into point-slope form. So they give us a point, they give us a slope. Okay, so you come right to the side if you want. The slope is 1. The point is 4, 1. This is x and this is y. Sometimes that'll help. So the equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? So it's y, and then the opposite of the y, which is what? Minus 1, equals m, which is, we said is 1, times x, and the opposite of x, minus 4. That's it. That's what you're going to type into your computer. That's it. Just like that. Okay? So let's try number 10. So you don't have a graph. Remember, label x and y. Sometimes that really, really helps. Okay, so the equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so we have y. Opposite of what y is going to be negative 1 equals m is 4, x, the opposite of x, minus 2. Now the reason you can just change it to the opposite is because the formula here says x minus x1. So if you did x minus, and we have a positive 2, that gives you just minus 2. It's always going to be opposite. But let's say this was a negative 2. If you have x minus a negative 2, that makes a plus. So it's always just the opposite. Okay, that's why it works that way. Okay, for number 13 and 14, I'm just going to give you some hints, but I want you to do those on your own. So, number 13 says, write an equation in point-slope form for a horizontal line that passes through this point. So you have to figure out a horizontal line, what's its slope? Okay, you have to figure out that slope and then write the equation. Okay, this one says write an equation in point-slope form for a vertical line that passes through these points. Okay, now I will say this won't exactly be in point-slope form because there's only one way you could write this equation. Okay, but I want you to write it. It's very simple, but you have to think about what I told you in the vocabulary. Go back and rewatch it if you need to. I told you something about a horizontal line and what that means about its slope and vertical line. Okay, I told you what those mean. So this one will definitely be written in point-slope form. This one not so much. Okay. Okay. So the worksheet's due by the end of the class today. Good luck, guys. Let me know if you need help. Also, be sure to submit your answers online. You will be writing in the entire equation just like this. Okay.